Imagine waking up one day and realizing you've lived hundreds of incredible lives, built successful businesses, found the perfect relationship, won arguments, became famous, but none of it ever happened. Your real life stayed exactly where it was. What if I told you that one of the most addictive behaviors isn't alcohol, isn't drugs, isn't social media? It's something your brain rewards you for every single day. Daydreaming. And the scary part? The more vivid your fantasy becomes, the less motivated your brain is to chase reality. Today, we're uncovering the dangerous psychology behind excessive daydreaming, why intelligent people are often trapped by it, and how your imagination might secretly be stealing your future. Everyone daydreams. You're sitting in class, driving home, taking a shower. Suddenly your mind drifts somewhere else. Sometimes that's healthy. Your imagination helps solve problems, sparks creativity, and lets you mentally rehearse difficult situations. But there's a line where imagination stops being inspiration and becomes escape. Psychologists call this maladaptive daydreaming, a pattern where fantasy becomes so rewarding that reality starts feeling dull, stressful, and disappointing. If you've ever caught yourself spending hours imagining a different life instead of building one, this video might explain more about your mind than you expected. Here's something fascinating. Your brain rewards imagined experiences surprisingly similarly to real ones. When you vividly imagine achieving success, your brain releases small bursts of dopamine, not because you've accomplished anything, but because your brain anticipates the reward. Think about athletes. Many Olympic champions visualize their performance before competing. Visualization works because it prepares the brain. But here's the difference. Athletes eventually step onto the field. Excessive daydreamers never leave the locker room. Instead of using imagination as preparation, they use it as replacement. Your brain starts learning something dangerous. Why struggle through uncertainty when I can experience success instantly inside my imagination? And every time that happens, reality loses a little more of its appeal. Before we continue, answer honestly. What's the fantasy you revisit most often? A perfect relationship? Unlimited wealth? Revenge? Or becoming someone everyone admires? Comment just one word below. You might be surprised how many people share the exact same escape. Here's an interesting paradox. Research suggests that people with higher creativity and imagination often experience richer internal worlds. That's not the problem. The problem begins when reality becomes emotionally uncomfortable. Stress, loneliness, failure, rejection. Instead of solving these emotions, the brain discovers a shortcut. Fantasy. Inside your imagination. Nobody rejects you. Nobody criticizes you. Everything happens exactly the way you want. Your brain quickly learns that fantasy feels safer than uncertainty. It's the psychological equivalent of emotional fast food. Comforting, instant, and addictive. Over time, you may notice something strange. Simple, everyday tasks become harder. Studying, working, reading, even conversations feel less stimulating than your imagination, because real life has friction. Fantasy doesn't. And that's exactly why it becomes dangerous. If you've made it this far, there's one question you need to ask yourself. Are you using imagination to build your future or to escape your present? The answer could completely change your life. Every hour spent living inside fantasy has an invisible price. Not because imagination is bad, but because action is delayed. Think about this. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they spend years mentally rehearsing a life they never begin. Psychologists call this the intention-action gap. The larger the fantasy, the harder the first real step feels. Reality can't compete with perfection. Real conversations are awkward. Real businesses fail. Real relationships require compromise. But fantasies never disappoint. And that's why they quietly become prisons. Ironically, many excessive daydreamers are deeply ambitious people. They dream because they care. But dreaming without action slowly becomes emotional procrastination. Your imagination begins replacing progress. Eventually, you stop asking, "What can I do today?" and start asking, "What if?" again and again and again. Years pass, nothing changes, except regret. Here's the truth. Your imagination isn't your enemy. It's one of your greatest superpowers. Every invention, every novel, every business, every masterpiece started as someone's daydream. The difference wasn't imagination. The difference was execution. The most successful people don't escape into fantasy. They borrow ideas from it, then return to reality to build them. Your imagination should be your blueprint, never your permanent address. The next time you catch yourself drifting into another perfect imaginary world, pause. Ask yourself one simple question. What small action can I take right now that moves this fantasy one step closer to reality? Because every extraordinary life begins exactly there. Not inside your head, but outside your comfort zone. If this video changed the way you think about your own mind, hit like and subscribe to Mind Cipher. Every week, we decode the hidden psychology shaping your thoughts, emotions, and behavior, so you can take back control of your mind instead of being controlled by it. And before you leave, comment below. Do you control your imagination, or does it control you? Because your answer might reveal more than you realize.